The Diary of a Sixth Grade Ninja by Marcus Emerson. Oh, the life of being a ninja. I know what you're thinking. It's an awesome life filled with secrets, crazy ninja moves, and running on the tops of trees. Well, you're right. I'm not going to lie to you. It's an absolutely fantastic life. But it wasn't always that way. This might surprise you, but ninjas are often seen as the bad guys. I know, right? I had no idea either until I became one. Though looking back, I should have seen the signs early on. You know what they say, hindsight is 20/20. So this is my story, my diary or my chronicle. I feel as though it has to be told for others to read so they can learn about the events at Buchanan School. History has to be studied and learned from, or else it's destined to repeat itself. And that's something I cannot allow. My name is Chase Cooper, and I'm 11 years old. I'm the kind of kid that likes to read comic books and watch old horror movies with my dad. If you were to see me walking down the street, you'd try your best not to bump into me, but only because I'm sort of scrawny. I see all these articles online with titles about losing weight and getting rid of unwanted body fat, and my jaw just drops because I can't gain weight to save my life. I've started working out with my dad when he gets home from work, but it's hard to keep up with him. All this to say that if you saw me, the last thing you'd think was dangerous ninja. I'm not the most popular kid in school, that's for sure. I've never had a girlfriend, I've never played sports outside of gym class. That's not true. I was on the soccer team in third grade, but after a shin guard to the face and a broken nose, I quit. So, I'm scrawny and unpopular. What else can I apply to those two traits for a completely wretched experience? The start of school. But wait, let's multiply that by 1,000,000. I'm also the new kid at this particular school. My parents decided to move across town over the summer so we could live in a slightly larger house. I mean, really, how selfish is that? A bigger house, but social death for me. Being in a new district means an entire herd of new students that I don't know. Well, that's not entirely true either. I know Zoe. She's the same age as me, but doesn't really count because she's my cousin. Luckily, we had the same gym class together. She was surprised to see me on that first day. I remember it well. It was a Monday, and the day I caught my first glimpse of the ninjas at Buchanan. "Chase," Zoe asked. She was wearing gym shorts and a tank top with the school's mascot on it. "Hey, Zoe," I said. She looked surprised. "It is you. What are you doing here?" "Going to school, dummy." That's what I wanted to say, but decided against it. "My parents moved to this side of town so I could go to school here now." Zoe laughed. "That's so cool. My own cousin in the same school as me. What fun we'll have." I looked at her silky hair and perfect skin. She kind of looked like one of those models on Teeny Bopper magazines. Yeah, there was no way she'd keep herself affiliated with the likes of me, but I gave her the benefit of the doubt. It'll be great, I sighed. The coach, Mr. Cooper, was at the front of the gymnasium, checking off students he knew. He walked up to the rest and asked for their names and grade. Finally, he approached Zoe and me. "Good morning, Zoe," Mr. Cooper said as he scraped a check mark onto the attendance list. Then he looked at me. "And what's your name?" Zoe answered for me. "This is Chase Cooper. He's my cousin," she said with a smile. "Good to have you here," said Mr. Cooper. Then he pointed at Zoe. "She's a good kid to have as a cousin. It's the start of school, but I've already seen her on several tryout lists. You'll do good to follow her lead." I faked a smile. "Sure." As Mr. Cooper walked away, Zoe continued speaking. "Why didn't you tell me you were starting at this school?" I shrugged my shoulders. "We don't really talk that much, and it never came up in conversation. We hardly ever see each other." Zoe crinkled her nose. We see each other every weekend. Our families have Sunday brunch together at the park. I couldn't argue with her. It's just a little embarrassing. You have nothing to be embarrassed about. Starting a new school might be weird, but it's not like you have the ability to control a situation like that, she said. I didn't want to tell her I was embarrassed and scared of being the new kid, that making friends isn't my strength, and I'm destined to be the kid who walks swiftly through the hallways clutching my backpack straps, staring at the floor, hoping I don't make eye contact with someone with anger management issues, so I didn't say any of that. You're right. I think it's just the first day jitters, you know. Zoe's eyes sparkled. She didn't have a clue. Welcome to the club. We all got the first day jitters. My dad always says the pool is coldest when you first touch the water, so the best thing to do is dive right in. I wasn't sure what my cousin was trying to say, so I replied with a wise words. Zoe looked off her left and noticed a boy standing alone. That's Wyatt. He never really talked to anyone here. He keeps to himself, always has, which is why he probably doesn't have any friends. Wyatt was short. He had wavy black hair and a pale complexion that would make a vampire jealous. He kind of looked like a porcelain doll. Has anyone tried to be his friend? Actually, yes. I tried talking to him last year, but he wouldn't hear any of it, she sighed. He was a jerk to me. Why are you telling me this? I asked. Zoe glanced at me. Because I don't want you to be like him. I tightened a smile. When I looked back at Wyatt, he was gone. So have you raised any money yet for the food drive? Zoe asked out of nowhere. Food drive? I asked. I haven't heard anything about that. They sent a pamphlet to all the students' houses last week, she said. Oh, that's right. You just moved into your new place, didn't you? I nodded. Well, it's probably somewhere at your house. We're supposed to raise money by selling fruit or something. I'm already up to 10 boxes sold. Is there a prize or anything? I asked. Normally, these kinds of things had cool prizes. Ray guns and little helicopters and stuff. Not a prize for one person, but if the school collectively raises over 10 grand, we get to take a trip the week before school is out. Where to? Zoe shrugged her shoulders. Doesn't matter. Anything to get out of school for a day. I smiled at my cousin. She was actually a little cooler than I thought. Mr. Cooper opened the side door to the gymnasium. Thank goodness, too, because Zoe's conversation was making me feel a little edgy. He stepped outside and held the door open with his foot, ushering the rest of us to exit the gym for some productive activity outside. Great, just what I needed. Exercise. Outside, the students were given a few different options. Being the first day of school, Mr. Cooper apparently thought the best thing to do was take it lightly and allow the kids to choose what sport they wanted to play. Some played football, only a couple played basketball, and the rest of them, like me, chose to walk laps around the track. It was the easiest option that didn't require choosing teams or working up a sweat. I could tell Zoe wanted to play football with a few of her friends, but decided to walk the track by my side. It wasn't a huge sacrifice for her, but I appreciated it. A little goes a long way with me. So, what do you want to know? She asked. I didn't understand her question. What do you mean? About this school. What do you want to know about this school? I imagine most schools are the same, but there's got to be a couple of differences here and there. What do you do at your old school? I thought about it for a moment. I didn't do much. I was in the art club, but that's about it. That's fun, Zoe said as she started skipping along the track. Zoe reminded me of my sister Lucy, who was also somewhere in the building adjusting to life as a new student. To be fair, it was far easier for her since she was in third grade. Most third graders barely even know they exist. They haven't become self-aware yet, like artificial intelligence that hasn't realized it has an identity. Zoe spoke in an excited manner, which was surprisingly contagious. There's a tons of stuff to do here. Not a lot of schools have as much as us. Buchanan actually prides itself on how huge of a selection we have. There's all kinds of sports teams, different groups, and a bunch of random clubs you can join. I'm sure there's an art club somewhere around here. I'll help you find it." I nodded my head, but was distracted by some movement out of the corner of my eye. It was the edge of the track where the tree line was thickest. I stopped in place and stared for a second to see if anything moved again, but nothing did. "What is it?" Zoe asked. I kept staring into the dense foliage. It was just a mess of green leaves and heavy shadows, except for a pair of the whitest eyes I'd ever seen. I froze in place and rubbed my eyes. Am I seeing things straight? Or was it part of the first day jitters that Zoe had spoke about? When I looked again, they were gone. I guess I stopped talking. When I looked at Zoe's face, Zoe was standing behind me with her eyes peeled wide open, staring into the same spot in the tree line that I was studying only seconds ago. "Did you see that?" she asked. A chill ran down my spine. I did. "Do you know what it was?" She shook her head and started walking along the track again. "Come on, let's get out of here. I think I'd rather not get eaten by a creature in the woods today." I knew it wasn't a monster that we had seen. I'm not that into scary stories, and watch enough with my dad to know that monsters are fake. At least I think they're fake. At that moment, I didn't feel the need to test that theory, so I caught up with Zoe, and we spent the rest of the class making jokes to distract ourselves from whatever it was that had spied on us. Little did I know that it was the first time I'd ever seen a ninja. I'd do anything to take that moment back and just keep walking. Of course, that's not how it turned out, and my curiosity got the better of me.